Hi, and welcome back to this second hour of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Great to have you in the conversation. I want to start the second hour with a quick call. Mary from Tomball, Texas, has been waiting patiently. Before we do that, hang on, Mary, I'll get to you in just a second. Our last caller was talking about a program in which Tim was talking to a caller, and our listener from the last hour thought that Tom was trying to divert the discussion away from Mormon theology. But Rob, you also serve as director for Tim's program, and you indicated that actually something else was going on there. Tell us what was going on.
Yeah, we were actually, Tim was just keeping us on topic with that. The caller wanted to take us off into another realm of talking about the Mormon Church and versus Christianity, and Tim was just bringing them right back to topic and just keeping it on topic, as simply as put as that. Okay, good, Rob. Well, thank you. So Rob was there, and that was just a matter of keeping the conversation and the caller on the subject that Tim was taking calls on, not letting them get distracted. All right, well, let's go to Mary in Tomball, Texas. Mary, thank you for calling, and thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Yes, Brian, thank you for being there.
Yes, ma'am.
You had someone on yesterday that was reporting on one of our senators, Republican senators, that's up for re-election. I voted for him twice,
Mm-hmm.
And the Texas Conservative Review has recommended him. But I did want your listeners to know that he did vote for cloture with the Democrats to pass Obamacare and would not change his mind even after I called and emailed to his office. And I did do this contacting quite a bit before Ted Cruz's stance in the Congress.
Mm-hmm.
I also heard, I believe on the news, now this is what I heard, that he also voted to end discussion on the debate for national budget, and once again, along with the Senate Democrats. I voted for him twice, like I said, but I did forewarn his office, and I told him that if he voted for Obamacare, I would do everything possible to let Texans know.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Stockman is also a conservative, and I will be voting for him. I guess it upsets me because also I see a commercial on TV. It says if you like your Obamacare, you can keep it. It bothers me. Also on the Tea Party in 2009, I've only been to one. It was the 4th of July, but I could see things starting to happen that I didn't like in our country. I did meet State Senator Dan Patrick, who is running, and they did recommend him also. He's awesome. He's unbelievable. He's conservative all the way. He's running for lieutenant government, and I will be voting for him, and he stands by his word. And at this Tea Party gathering, I did notice something. I told my husband, he just kind of told me it's kind of silly. There was a camera that was scanning all the people that were there very, very slowly, and I thought it just kind of bothered me very much. It just seemed creepy.
Looked like maybe it was more surveillance than curiosity.
You got it.
Yeah.
And once again, this is one of, I could see that our liberties were starting to decline then. It's fearful to stand for our beliefs, but I will still pray and stand for the USA.
Yeah. All right, Mary, well, listen, thank you for your call. And she's talking, of course, about John Cornyn, who is the incumbent in Texas and does have a primary challenge. And, in fact, why don't we shift gears in light of that call from Mary in Tomball, Texas, Rob, and let's look at grabbing clips 3 and 4. Number to call, by the way, is 888-589-8846. Because she was talking basically about the Tea Party. Remember, the 5th anniversary was yesterday. And Ted Cruz is a Tea Party favorite. Tea Party loves Ted Cruz. I love Ted Cruz. And it's interesting to me, this is the first time in my life I have ever disagreed with something that Thomas Sowell has said. He and Ann Coulter, for some reason, are going after Ted Cruz. Now, Thomas Sowell disappoints me because I think Ted Cruz is the one guy that's out there not just saying the things that we believe in, but actually promoting them, defending them, acting on these principles, taking steps. And what happened is that he angered a lot of ruling class Republicans, which doesn't bother me one little last tiny bit, because when it came to the debt ceiling, and this is what Mary was talking about, and John Cornyn was one of the renegade Republicans that voted this way, the Ted Cruz used a perfectly rule-consistent maneuver. I mean, he wasn't breaking the rules or anything like that. It's one of the provisions that are in the Senate rules to make sure that if the debt ceiling was going to be raised, it would require 60 votes to end the debate. In order for that to happen, there had to be a number of Republicans that voted for closure. That's what we're talking about, closing the debate so that it could go to the entire Senate floor, because there's only 55 Democrats. So they got to get at least 5 Republicans to leave the reservation, to trespass, to go over to the dark side of the force and vote with them to close debate so that the entire Senate can actually vote on it. Now, once debate is closed, then it only takes 51 votes to pass. So everybody knew that. Everybody knew if the Democrats have 55 votes, that's 4 more than 51. If this thing gets to the Senate floor, it's going to pass because there are enough Democrats, and they all believe in no debt ceiling whatsoever, unlimited spending, blank check. You know they're going to vote for it. So the only chance to stop that thing was with the cloture vote on Ted Cruz's filibuster. And so he forced them to come up with 60 votes. So you had a number of senators, Republican senators, that voted for cloture. That was the only vote that counted. Forget the vote that actually raised the debt ceiling. That was not the vote that counted. The vote that counted, you had guys like Senator McConnell and Senator Cornyn, Jeff Flake from Arizona, Barrasso from Wyoming, Susan Collins from Maine, Bob Corker from Tennessee, Orrin Hatch from Utah, Johans from Nebraska, Mark Kirk from Illinois, John McCain went over to the dark side of the force on this from Arizona, Lisa Murkowski, Arkansas, and John Thune. That was a disappointment to me. They all voted for cloture, knowing that a vote for cloture was a vote to raise the debt ceiling. So it's no wonder then that the establishment Republicans are upset with Ted Cruz, because he's forcing them to come out from under the rocks where they hide and be counted. Their votes have to be counted, and they have to be, the votes have to be taken, and they have to be registered in public. Now, when we come back after the break, I've got a couple of sound bites, one from Ann Coulter. And again, Ted Cruz has been very, very critical of, Thomas Sowell has been very critical of Ted Cruz. He said this, Senator Ted Cruz has not yet reached the point where he can make policy rather than just make political trouble, but there are already disquieting signs that he is looking out for Ted Cruz, even if that sets back the causes he claims to be serving. These causes are not being served when Senator Cruz undermines the election chances of the only political party that has any chance of undoing the disasters that Barack Obama has already inflicted on the nation. Well, now Thomas Sowell, much to my regret, is sounding just like an establishment Republican. Now, remember this moment when people will try to tell you that I'm just a hack and a flack for anybody that's got an R label. Here I am criticizing Thomas Sowell, a guy that I think is the smartest guy in the world. I've never disagreed with Thomas Sowell about a single thing in my entire life. But when he says we got to raise the debt ceiling so that Republicans can win the Senate to do what? Focal Point AFR Talk.